Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Silver Jubilee casual chat with classmates. I have with me, actually, it's a great pleasure to have with me Dr. Kalyan Handik. He's a classmate
Thank
of
you.
ours from IIT Bombay, chemical engineering, and he went on to do his PhD at Michigan, and he's currently a innovator. He has two companies under his belt, and he likes to describe himself as a technologist in the life sciences. I was just telling him just before our chat here is that he's pretty much doing what we all uh, uh, envisioned ourselves doing when we were doing our courses at IIT. So, warm welcome, Kalyan.
Thank you,
And
Jai.
so, just give us a brief, a rundown of your journey since graduation. What are the places you went to? What did you do? And then we can get into some more. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So since I left IIT Bombay in '95, I've been in one place only. That's Ann Arbor, Michigan. So not much to say. Not been moving around, but I have definitely developed a lot of good network here, and has been the seat for all my different innovations here. So '95, I came with my PhD. I had a fellowship, and again, like any other graduate, it was a foot in the door. I never wanted to do research. I said I'm gonna just see if I like something. If not, I'm gonna go quit after my masters. The university would be very upset, but I am not the research kind of guy. But in chemical engineering at Michigan, you get exposed to a lot of professors in the first semester, and then I saw one research by Mark Burns on applying semiconductor technology. It's a new field called microfluidics in the area of biological sciences, and it kind of just hit me, and I said, and I really dug into it, and I told the department that I will stay if I only get to do that research. And it was, the project was highly innovative, highly interdisciplinary. I actually had three bosses: one in chemical engineering, one in EE, electrical engineering, and one in human genetics. So the human genetics biologist would pose the problem, and the problem at that time was, hey, we're trying to sequence this human genome, but the available technologies are too slow, too expensive, and then so the EE and the chemical engineer were coming up with technologies to speed up the process, and I loved it. So I got into the lab, learned solid state fabrication, the IC fabrication, and started applying chemical engineering principles like heat transfer, mass transfer, diffusion. I mean, it was amazing that I really enjoyed chemical engineering at that point. I mean, I think back, and at IIT, I don't think we really got all the concepts clear. So I really enjoyed studying doing my PhD. But then I think I just fell in love with the highly interdisciplinary nature and the impactful nature of what I was doing. So lo and behold, I really got exposed to and got better and better. I had my first patent file in '97, and then I was able to lead a cross-disciplinary team, and pretty much drove it from the students to say, hey, we can really shoot for the stars and get something really big. So that led to us getting a phenomenal integrated chip. We designed a silicon chip that can take DNA and sequence it in a all in one, and that was a breakthrough in 1998 in the science. The chip is now in the Smithsonian. And then after that, real hard work, getting to that, I felt that, hey, this is technology is great, but it's of no use if it cannot be used by real people, customers. So I knew that this has to be commercialized. And at that point, 99, I was thinking the best way to, really get involved in technologies, get into a startup. And then I interviewed a lot of other startups that are eager for me to join them. And then around that time, a local VC saw our science article, talked to the professor. Professor said, talk to Handy. That's my nickname. And he would be the most likely person that may be interested. So at that point, I I thought about it. It's a new world for me, VC world. You hear a lot of stories. Oh, VCs are the venture capital, this and that. So when I assess my what do I really want at the time, I felt like, hey, I was living on a student stipend, right? I was single, so I felt if I have 2 meals a day, a cot to sleep in the night, and I'm doing the work that I like, I have nothing to lose. So I went back to my bare necessities. And then I also, interestingly, talking about friends, I was talking to other friends. Amit Dixit is one of them. He had just done a startup in India, was going to Harvard. He said, hey, startup is definitely a fun world. Every day you learn something new. And at the end, even if you fail, you would have learned so much that, you won't get that in any other real world experience. So I essentially decided that I want to go into it within a few days, and met with the VC. And then it's a journey after that. And then we started pulling together a team. I got my classmate, PhD, he was 1 year behind me, Sundu, rolled in, and I started talking to Karthik, who was my roommate or wingmate in IIT. He's one of the smartest dude in the hostel, double E, and also doing biomed. So, and started putting together a team. And then by the time I graduated, finished my thesis, the next day I was working on it, and was lucky to have already got some VC funding to really start, building the technology and the company. So it was a very intense period of learning, lots of failures from 2000 for the next 5-6 years. It took us, our vision at the time was to take a handheld and put in a disposable chip where you put a clinical sample and then you can analyze DNA. It was a very visionary ideas, but it took a lot of technology development to get that working. And then, along the way from 2000, 2006, it took us a while to get the product working and get into clinical trials. But, it also, we were lucky to have continued to get funding from VCs. I think primarily because at all the steps along the way, we kept pushing the technology, creating something very unique, innovative. And then in 2006, that product, it was not a handheld, it was like a small benchtop, can do one sample at a time. Actually, it has been perfect for COVID if we continue on that now. But at that time, the hospitals really wanted to run multiple samples at the same time. They didn't want the burden of running it at the doctor's office. So we went back to the drawing board and we had to build a system that can do like multiple samples at the same time. So that's, we had to go back to VCs and say, hey, we need one more shot at getting the product right. And they gave us a chance, and then we launched a product in the market, and it was a hit. At the time in 2008, 2009, the H1N1 pandemic was going on, and then everybody wanted our machines to be able to run it. So, and then quickly it escalated. BDA ended up acquiring the company at the end of 2009. So great learning experience, 2000 through in a decade long. And then I stayed with BD for about 15 months. The first 9 months I was very busy because we were getting the next generation platform into clinical trials. And that product is called the BD Max. It's in the center stage of the current COVID diagnostics. It's been used in thousands of places across the world, and one of the first viral assay that was run on that system. So very, very happy that what we did long time back is really showing useful in the current world. So after BD, when we got that product launched, I was able to get my head up, and then the corporate bullshit started to show, and you realize that how bad some of the cultures could be, and I just couldn't go through that. I said I'm gonna go back, doing something real fun again. And that's the time I was thinking what to do next. I was being courted by a couple of folks in Ann Arbor to join a small VC, also join other startups as a kind of a role in their as a CEO. And concurrently, my wife, Priya, she had just launched another startup with her friends. She's a molecular biologist. She's from India, and she did her master's in biology here. And she had started this company called De Novo Sciences. And then she started getting traction on a business plan to do liquid biopsy, essentially to get circulating tumor cell from blood and analyzing it. And I was initially just mentoring her and her team. And then once she started winning some of the local business plan competition, then I thought, hey, it makes sense for me to step in. But then I also worried that both husband and wife in the same startup with no pay, I don't know how long you can sustain it. And then we also had our first baby, Nora, at that time. So everything came together. So it's kind of give it myself and the team that, hey, I'm gonna try it for 6 months. If nothing pans out, we're gonna disband this. But within 2 months, we won the world's largest business plan competition, $500,000. And that's what allowed, that was in 2011, end of 2011. And I was able to capitalize that and get angels to put more money in the company. And then we could really start executing on the business plan, build the technology, build the IP. And then we started growing that. It was more in the space of circulating tumor cells, cancer detection. And then we had some early products that we started selling into China, India, Japan. It was harder in US because of the regulations, and they really want you FDA approved before they can use it. And then companies like Garden and Grail, where Kolo is now, they came up with the alternate technology of looking at floating DNA, and they sucked up all the investment from the space. Companies like us, we tried real hard, even though the technology was very innovative, much more useful in the long run. We couldn't compete in the marketplace. So that's when we had to pivot the company from doing a diagnostic, cancer diagnostic, to a single cell analysis. We had enough, kind of core technology that we can move. And then what we did was we went to this research product where you can analyze, instead of looking at hundreds of cells at the same time, you can look at tens of thousands to millions of cells at the same time. Very, very cutting edge, very innovative. The reason why it's important is one cancer cells in your body among millions of cells could be the bad guy. To really find out what's happening, you need to be able to tease apart at a very small level, at the single cell level. So that's what we did. We moved into a new market. We were able to actually, in the new technology space, we were able to raise more money quickly, but it also was very competition, in a lot of competitive, competition. And then we were lucky to raise a lot of money. We actually, instead of going through VCs, we went through some family offices. We hired the right commercial folks, and then so that we made that pivot in end of 2016, 17, and we essentially launched a very cutting edge product, and we got acquired by Bio-Rad earlier this year. Right when the Dow was crashing, we actually got acquired. So very happy that outcome happened. So right now with Bio-Rad, we're going through integration. I'm helping them architect a new platform in the molecular diagnostics, so they can be successful in that space where you could use those for future pandemic situations and or regular clinical diagnostics. So far I'm happy doing what I'm doing in a large company. The bullshit that I saw earlier hasn't surfaced yet, so I'm happy doing.
This is a fascinating journey. I'm glad you just went on a monologue and I didn't have to interrupt you with all my very pedantic questions. So let me actually throw you a curveball here. You've talked about all the things that I wanted to ask you, right? On your motivation, on what are the challenges, and and the fact that at IIT we barely dust the surface of the discipline, if you may use that term. So my question now to you actually is to flip it back and say that now, knowing what you in my mind, you've crossed all the TRL stages, right from fundamental research to actual product. How do you see what you know now can be given back to, say, IIT, right? I mean, we've got this knowledge now. what can we take back to IIT so that the students today are better prepared for the future and probably be the innovators that they could be, that you are? What can you do? What are your words on this?
I think everybody has to go through their own journey of finding what's best for them. They have to go through the rigors of life. I mean, it's not that I wanted to do something impactful. It just happened by itself. I also went through my downtime, asking question, what am I doing? What's the purpose of what my career is? So everybody needs to go through that. I think the best thing is I wouldn't change anything. I would just expose them to different stories of why, and also stories of, it's just, success is not the only thing in life. The stories of a purpose driven, very healthy, I would say, how to become a very healthy human being that contributes to society. And it did not be by doing well in career. It could be different ways. I mean, you could be a great father, you could be a great friend. I think those are important aspects. I think you just uh, highlight the importance of being a good human being. That I think when you become responsible adult, you try to leave the world much better than what you are. Leave the world better for your next generation. I think if you say those high level things, I mean, those individual routes they take in the technology and or other profession, those will come along the way. But the overarching goal is that, hey,
No,
you need to become
Kalyan, I agree with you completely, but that's a statement Kashikar will give us, right? You know Kashikar, right?
there's Kasikar in every one of us. You should
Yes,
know that.
exactly. So now let me push you a little bit and say, you know what? See, you clearly have seen infrastructure that has helped you.
Yeah.
Do you think that what is that type of infrastructure that we should try to get in our IITs today that will help impact society? See, at the end of the day, you and I have been in the research background. We know
Yeah.
papers are not everything. It's about actually making an impact on the ground, as you just
Yeah.
alluded to. So, what are the things that you see? Let's say one or two things that you can say that if these two things were there, it will be nice. I'm not saying it is the sufficient, but what you
Yeah.
would say necessary conditions.
I think you have to create environment of open innovation, open competition,
Mm.
and there should be small investments provided for for those competitions.
Okay.
Again, in all my the last two companies, we did well because we were competitively better than what's out there, not just around locally, but competitively across the world.
Mm.
So I think you need to instill that sense of competitiveness very early on, and then you put a little bit of investments to get to keep going to a next new milestones. I think it's important to start having those, and then I think the folks that have done it and has seized the whole pathway, I think they need to be there as mentors. I wish I had better mentors when I was at IIT. I wish I had better mentors when I was early in my Handilab career. And I was lucky to have met good people that said something that stayed with me, and I was able to use that. I think mentorships are extremely important, especially when you're trying to create a vibrant culture around your institution.
This is fantastic. I'm sure there will be more people who will chat with you about this because this is something that we need to also think about from our legacy project. So finally, I think the most easy question for you at the end is what do you miss most about IIT and what are you looking forward to in this virtual reunion and possibly full reunion next year? What do you look forward to?
Yeah, I think it's a good chance to meet my old friends that we've been only maybe right now we are zooming once in a while, but we for example, I miss having fun with my wingmates. In all of IIT, even though I was in chemi or this and that. I mean, I had the most fun with a small group of friends that we kind of, kept in touch, but it'll be good to, go back to IIT and, kind of reminisce on of the good times we had, the kind of weird funs, activities and things like that. So again, that's what I think would
Yeah,
be
so
fun.
I remember you as a football player, and then I also remember you doing a lot of dancing in all the paths and stuff. So maybe it's an opportunity to show your kids also that you can do more than just read books and produce products, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Handy. This has been a great conversation. I think it'll be great. Let's hope that there's more to talk to. And when we have this reunion over this year, we will be able to get into more substantial. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jay. A wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.